if truth be known, Pat Mahomes he's not a top tier quarterback right now. Not saying he's not good, but he's not playing to the standard that we're accustomed to seeing him play. And I think he doesn't have to because of this defense. Welcome to Pigskin Passion TV. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba. It's season 2, episode number 79. And guys, we back. We back for another week of fantasy football. And guys, I can't get used to this, man. The Black Mamba is 7-0, making Black Mamba history. The best start to any fantasy season that Black Mamba has ever had. And I attribute that all to you guys because I get in the books and I study every week to see who's the best pickup. And drafting from the number 12 position this year, hey, I thought it was going to be a detriment to my team, but so far it's been really good. And guys, the Black Mamba Diner has been serving out some of the best meals during the first half of this season. We've been sending everybody that we come in, we've been sending them out with a hot plate, one of those L's. And this week was no different. It was a repeat of last year's Fantasy Championship Bowl. And this guy, I really love beating him because he's one of the biggest talkers in the league. So anytime I can beat him, it's always fun. And this week was no different. And just a little backstory. Last year in the Fantasy Bowl, I offered to split the pot with this guy, and he said no. He really thought he would win. And my team was actually the better team. If you guys want to go back and look at last year's my fantasy championship, but he flat out said no. He didn't want to split the pot. I always want the bragging rights, but I just wanted to split the pot. And he said no. So, I keep stuff like that in the back of my mind. So this time, it was no different than last year. And his team is actually one of the better teams in the league, even though he had a bad day on Sunday. And guys, I really hope that I can get a couple of L's in before the end of the season because I don't know if a team can stay this hot during the course of a year. And this week I went out and I made 2 good pickups again. I went out and picked up the Bengals defense, which we talked about last week. And I also picked up Dicker from the Chargers. And I had no idea this guy could kick like he did. And I saw his first 2 field goals and I'm like, this guy has a nice leg. And I may actually keep him on my team. He may be my kicker for the rest of the year. We'll see. But with that said, guys, let's jump into some of the waiver wire pickups for this week. I don't know how many guys I'll try to go out here and pick up. Right now, I'm really just trying to gear up for playoffs and anybody who I feel can strengthen my team during that time. That's who I'll be trying to pick up. I don't have a whole lot of waiver wire money left to go out and pick up guys. So this week at quarterback, and I gave this guy last week as well, and that's Drake May with the New England Patriots. If you went out and picked him up last week, you should have been able to get him pretty cheap. He may be a little more this week because he's had 2 great weeks since he's been the starter. He's posted at least 23 points in both of his starts, and he looks pretty good passing the ball. And another added bonus for him is even though he hasn't showed his legs off yet, he's able to rush as well. So that would be a pickup. The next guy up is Jameis Winston. And I'm not 100% sure if he's going to start, but he's actually the best quarterback on the Browns team with Deshaun getting hurt last week. And if he gets to start over DTR, you're going to have a gunslinger on your hand. You're going to have to take the good with the bad, but he'll be able to get you points at the end of the day. If you're hurting that quarterback, and you need a quarterback, I'm sure that he probably is going to not be any worse than what you have now. And at running back, Tyler Goodson with the Indianapolis Colts. I wish I had a pick Tyler up instead. I had Trey Sermon, and I ended up dropping him last week. But it looks like Goodson has taken over the backfield. He led the backfield last week and ran for 51 yards. He also got into the end zone, and I think he's more of a short-term rental. I'm sure Jonathan Taylor is pretty close to being ready to return. So this guy gives you another week, maybe two, of some production. And if you're hurting at running back, he would be somebody you could go out there and get some instant volume as far as the running back position. If you're looking for a guy to stash and you don't want to spend a whole lot, Keandre Miller with the New Orleans Saints, I think that this is a cheap pickup, and it could possibly pay dividends towards the end of the season, especially with the Saints. They're playing bad right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if they dismantle the team and they were to trade some of the valuable pieces like Alvin Kamara, and you just never know. You know, if that happens, then someone like Miller steps in, instantly gets to start and starts getting volume. And guys, at the wide receiver position, there were some big injuries this weekend, and a guy that I would go out to pick up if you're needing a wide receiver is Juwan Jenkins with the San Francisco 49ers. Brandon Ayuk had a season-ending injury, and also Debo, I think he's been released, but he got hospitalized for having pneumonia. So that makes Juwan Jennings in line for a major share of the targets. And he's proven that when the big names are out, he's a guy that can come in and put up big numbers. 3 out of the 7 games that the 49ers have had, he's been the leading receiver. And there was one game where he had 11 catches for 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's proven that he can come in and put some numbers on the board. Another guy, if you're needing a wide receiver, is Jalen McMillan with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay, they kind of got decimated last night at wide receiver. Chris Godwin, he's out for the season. Mike Evans he re-injured his hamstring, so I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. It looks like he might be out for a while, the way he went down. So this means that McMillan's going to be the default number 1 receiver. And after Godwin went out last night, he led the team with 8 targets. And this is a good offense to pick up a wide receiver, simply because the Bucs, they're 9th in pass attempts and they're 7th in passing yards, and they're 1st in passing TDs. So receivers in this offense are good receivers to have, which leads me to this next guy, Trey Palmer, also with the Buccaneers, and he's going to be their deep threat. And I think he's going to replace some of the production lost by Goodwin. He'll be another guy to go out there and pick up. At tight end, which we're all pretty much hurting at tight end. If you need a tight end, if your tight end is on a bye this week, Hunter Henry is a good guy to go out there and take a look at. Last week he had 8 catches for 92 yards, and he's getting the volume, and that's about all you can ask for at the tight end position. And now he actually has somebody who can get him the ball in Drake May, as opposed to the first part of the year when Jacoby Brissett was his quarterback. The next guy, Noah Fant with the Seattle Seahawks. Over the last 2 weeks, he's finished as the 12th and the 8th ranked tight end. And with DK Metcalf being out, or he may be out, this means that some of his targets are going to get spread out. So this may be a good pickup for you if you're in a pickle this week and need a tight end. And as always, guys, I'm streaming my defense, and the defense that I'll be looking at this week is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think the Raiders are pretty close to giving up on the season. The Chiefs have a really good defense. As a matter of fact, the defense has probably won half of their games. I mean, because if truth be known, Pat Mahomes is not a top tier quarterback right now. Not saying he's not good, but he's not playing to the standard that we're accustomed to seeing him play. And I think he doesn't have to because of this defense. And Kansas City, I think they'll be able to generate some turnovers with this Las Vegas team. And that's my number one defense this week. If for some reason I'm not able to get them, the next team I'll be looking at is the Los Angeles Chargers. They're playing the New Orleans Saints this week. And the Saints, they have issues all over the field. And they have issues at quarterback with Derek Carr, who's hurt, and Spencer Rattler. They're both dealing with injuries. They've lost production at wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed, he's out for the season. Chris Olave, I don't know if he's going to play this week. And without Carr, they've been giving up over 5 sacks a game. So I like the Los Angeles Chargers in this game. If for some reason I have to go to the third team, the Houston Texans, they are a pretty safe pick as well. And this week they have turnover-friendly Anthony Robinson and the Colts coming in. I'm sorry, Anthony Richardson. And Richardson, he's turned the ball over 7 times in 4 games. So he's turning into a turnover machine. And it seems like he may have regressed a little bit from last year, because I don't remember this version of Anthony Richardson last year before he got hurt. But Houston Texans, that's my next pick. And if you can't get either of those 3 picks, Detroit Lions is another great pickup, I think, this week. And last week, Mason Rudolph turned the ball over twice. And I think this week, once the Titans get behind, they're going to have to throw the ball. And the defense, once they know you got to throw the ball, they just pin their ears back and they rush the passer trying to get those sacks. So I like this as a real turnover heavy game for the Titans. And guys, those are my picks. I think that we have some good waiver wire pickups again this week. And let's continue to do what we're doing. And with that said, guys, do me a favor. Spike that like, comment, subscribe. And it's your boy, the Black Mamba, out.